You know, in the first part I was talking about merchandise and how I really didn't have any, and now I just so happen to be wearing this shirt, which is one that, like I said, I never actually ended up selling, but totally coincidence with that one. I'm not wearing this on purpose. It's for part 2. Welcome to part 2 of the Q&A question and answer Ask Me Anything Munching Orange edition, where I am going to be answering all of the Pokemon related questions and other sort of Pokemon tie-in stuff. So I've spruced up the background a little bit. There's Xerneas. I know it's kind of blurry, you probably can't tell. This is Agumon, my favorite Pokemon personally. I think that one's Pikachu. I'm not really sure. There's another Pokemon over this one. That's definitely also a Pokemon. What's a Digimon? Is that even the thing? So as you all saw in part 1, I only ended up answering about 10 to 15 questions or something like that. And it ended up going for almost a half hour, which is really crazy. I wanted to answer a lot more than that, but I mean, that's how that one ended up. So for the Pokemon one, same thing as the YouTube answers. I've chosen basically what I thought were the most interesting questions. A lot of them were what my favorite Pokemon is, even though I literally said in the questions video that I've already done my top 10 favorites. So if you were one of those people that asked what my favorite Pokemon are, then go ahead and check out that video. I was about to say shameless self-plugging, but really I'm just like plugging my own video. So is that really like a shameless thing when you're just saying to go watch one of my own videos? I don't know. So let's get right into this one. The first question comes from Chestnut Video Games, and it is just like how the YouTube ones, it was how I got started with YouTube. This one is when was the very first time I was introduced to Pokemon and how, whether it be watching Pokemon, playing Pokemon. For me it was actually watching Pokemon, and this is something that I kind of rediscovered recently because I was talking in a Zeta and Omicron video. My mom recently sent me a bunch of pictures of when I was a kid, and I saw myself like basically, I think I was like maybe 6 years old, and I was wearing a Pikachu shirt, and I was like, I don't remember really playing Pokemon that long ago. The first memories I have of actually playing the game were Ruby, Sapphire, when those came out, and I went and got the games sometime late at night. I don't remember when those games came out, but I got it late at night, and I came back home and I played, and I got all the way to Brawley's gym, and the next night was a school night, so my mom was like, you gotta go to school and you gotta go to school in the morning. So I had to stop playing, but yeah, I played through that first night, and that was the first time I remember playing Pokemon. That was maybe when I was like in 3rd, or, well, I don't know when those games came out actually. I know that Emerald came out when I was in 5th grade, and I was living in New York then. So I guess Ruby and Sapphire was maybe when I was either in 3rd or 4th grade. Probably 4th grade. So yeah, that's when I first played Pokemon. As far as being introduced to the show though, it was way before then. Like I said, when I was maybe 6 years old, I got a picture of me wearing a Pikachu shirt. So it led me to assume that I learned of Pokemon through the television show, because I definitely remember watching it every day when I got back from school in like 2nd and 3rd grade, or even 1st grade maybe. I don't really remember exactly when, but I definitely learned of the series through watching the anime, or I guess then I would just call it a cartoon. I don't really know that it was an anime. Same thing with like Dragon Ball Z, because I guess they're just really classic and you just consider them like childhood cartoons. But anyway, yeah, that's probably where I learned of Pokemon. But like I said, I didn't actually start playing the game until Ruby and Sapphire came out a couple of years later, and obviously I didn't start playing the games a lot more until I would say about when Platinum came out, which is around when I started my YouTube channel. So the next question I actually really like. I think this is one of the coolest ones, and I put it here near the top, and it comes from SD Sammy, and it says, if you were to be a Pokemon, or if you were to be a Pokemon, which one would you be and why would you want to be that Pokemon? And that was one that I really find really cool, because Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, what's a dungeon? Mystery Dungeon kind of explores that. It has you playing the role of a Pokemon rather than a trainer, and it asks you a couple of questions at the beginning to try and pit you down to be, I think there's like, I don't know how many there are in the latest Mystery Dungeon game, but I know in the first one there were like maybe 6 Pokemon. The starters and Eevee is what I remember, but this one is if I could be any Pokemon at all ever, which one would I be and why? And I mean, I've never really thought about this question, so if I were to really think about it for a second, I would probably want to be a legendary Pokemon, because they're kind of the authorities. They can do whatever they want, no one can really stop them, and if I had to choose one legendary Pokemon specifically, probably Rayquaza. Just because I love dragons, Rayquaza is my favorite legendary, Probably runner-up is Darkrai or something, but Rayquaza can freaking fly. It's a dragon, it's super powerful, and I've always just dreamed of flying, I guess, or I always have dreams of flying, so Rayquaza is the Pokemon that can do that. And really it has command over Kyogre and Groudon as well, so you're not only a super powerful legendary Pokemon that can fly around, do whatever it wants, but at any point Groudon and Kyogre is disagreeing, you can come in there and be like, yo, you guys need to stop. That's always the way that I saw that little cutscene in Sootopolis, where Groudon is on that little platform and Kyogre's in the water and they're growling at each other. Then Rayquaza comes, pimp slaps both of them and is like, I am the authority here. So if I could be any Pokemon, probably would be Rayquaza, just because I think it's one of the most powerful legendaries, and it does a lot of the things that I would want if I could ever like have superpowers or just be another creature. Rayquaza just seems cool. I like dragons, I like flying, I like Rayquaza. It basically comes down to that. I like the Pokemon Rayquaza a lot. From Northern Warrior Gaming, we have, what is the best Pokemon game or hack that you have ever played? And this is a question I'm going to answer both main series Pokemon game and ROM hack, because I think those two are very different, even though ROM hacks are obviously based mostly off of GBA games. There's some DS hacks, but mostly GBA games. So for Pokemon hack, first of all, I'm going to say I've played a lot of hacks here on my channel and a couple of other ones not on the channel, but from the ones that I played on my channel, the one I've had the most fun with and the one I think is the best Pokemon hack I've ever played at least is definitely Pokemon Flora Sky. It was the one I finished before. When did I actually finish that? I feel like it went on for so long. Pokemon Glaze was also really, really good, but I'd say Flora Sky has just been the best overall hack that I've played. I know a lot of people like Ash Gray. I like Ash Gray for the story because obviously it follows the anime, but as far as all of the custom tile sets and custom Pokemon that you have and just the region in general, Flora Sky is definitely the most well-rounded one, and I thought that the whole game kind of just, as you go through it, there's never a part where I really needed to grind or anything like that, which is a problem with a few hacks that I've played. So overall, I would say Flora Sky is my favorite Pokemon hack, and possibly even game, though for overall Pokemon game, X and Y, hands down, is just too amazing. I was really, really hyped for the games to come out, and just because of the new graphics, the new features in the game, and it definitely lived up to the hype. I think they are the best Pokemon games that have been out there. I obviously like hacks a little bit more because of the challenge, but Pokemon X and Y, if you play with some kind of challenge like Nuzlocke or Wonderlock or something, just to add a little bit more to the challenge of it and not make it that easy, I guess, is hands down the best Pokemon game. I mean, graphics do go a little bit far with that just because it's so different and refreshing, and I really like going through that game. And even whenever I go back and play it now, I've played through it several times, on YouTube only once, but on my own spare time, I've gone through and beat that game so many times. I really, really love it. But for now, I would say number 3, Light Platinum, number 2, Glazed. Those are kind of just, I don't really know where to place them, but definitely number 1, Flora Sky. So if you haven't heard of any of those, I've done playthroughs of all of them on my channel, and you should definitely check them out, install them on your computer. You need like an emulator to play them, but I definitely recommend you check them out and play through them because I think they are just some of the best Pokemon games ever, even though they are ROM hacks of original games. You should definitely check them out and play them. The next question is from Dex Holder Green, but also from a lot of other people asked this question, and it is what I am hoping for in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And not just in this Q&A video, but this is a question that I get so much on all of my Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire trailer videos and analysis videos and breakdowns and all that, all the speculation stuff. I always get this question is what I am hoping to see and what my hopes are for the games and expectations and all that. And really, there aren't as many hopes as I had for X and Y because those were coming into a brand new generation on the 3DS. The first games ever on 3DS, so new graphics, ton of new features. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire I feel like are going to be almost the exact same as X and Y, just obviously a port of Emerald and Ruby Sapphire, but with the X and Y features and graphics. So I don't feel like they're going to change a lot with it, but if there is anything that I would want more than anything ever for those games, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree with me, and I know that we haven't seen it in any of the trailers or anything, so it's probably not going to be in it, but please, the Pokemon following you from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I know it's really obvious I was going to say that, but it was one of the best features in Heart Gold Soul Silver. We were hoping for it in Black and White 2, X and Y. They haven't brought it back yet, and I just feel like some people argue, oh, well, you can't really do that with the 3D graphics because there's some parts where Pokemon wouldn't be able to follow you, but the models are already in the game. It would just be And they have the space for it. It's just like, I don't know, I feel like it could definitely be in there and just make the Pokemon go in the Pokeball whenever you're like in a city where you need to be entering buildings constantly. I don't know. I feel like it could definitely work out. It wouldn't be that hard, but then again, I don't really know a lot about it. It's just a feature that a lot of people really, really like, and I as well would like to see it come back. But that leads into the next question, and I'll talk a little bit more about my hopes, and it is from Enigmatic Boss, which is, were you more excited for X and Y or Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire? And really, I'm excited for both of them equally, but for different reasons. X and Y, like I said, was going to be a whole new experience, all new features, all new graphics, and all that. And I feel like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire I'm very, very excited for, but mostly for the nostalgia of coming back to that region. With a few added bonuses. Of course, now we have Mega Evolutions for some of my favorite starters. Mudkip, Torchic, Trico are probably my favorite starters just in general from any of the regions. So really, really cool that we're getting new Megas. Not super hyped for the Primal Evolutions. I don't know. It seems like a cool feature to add that in, but it just like, for me personally, it's not the most exciting thing. But it's like I'm very hyped for both games where I was for X and Y and am now, I would say equally, just for different reasons, and mostly for this one I would say is the nostalgia. It is my favorite region, the Hoenn region, and we've been waiting for these games for so long that it still feels kind of surreal that they're coming out in like 2 or 3 months. So yeah, I'm definitely very, very excited. I was super excited for X and Y. I'd say maybe I was a little bit more excited for X and Y just because, like I said, it was a whole new fresh experience, and now we already know kind of what it's like, so we know a lot of what to expect for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is, like I said, why I don't have a lot of hopes for the game. Like, I am really, really hoping that it's awesome, but there's not a lot of, like, new things that I'm excited for, rather. I'm just excited to go back and re-experience that region, and get to see how everything looks like in the 3D environment and all that. But, yeah, like I said, it's a game we already know, so I guess that kind of takes away a little bit of the excitement, but I'm still very, very hyped for the games to come out. There is one more question regarding Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire that I got a lot, and I get a lot on all of my videos, and I just want this to be the one answer. Spread the word to everyone else that watches and all your friends, because this is going to be the big answer. It is, if I am going to do an LP, which one I will do, Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. What starter I'm going to pick, what my team is going to be. I get these questions so often, and I don't want to spoil that. I feel like that's up to the adventure. I always do my games blind, so I basically just go into it, and whatever I'm feeling at the time of playing through the game, what I end up like finding in the routes or what Pokemon I end up finding is what I catch, what I'm feeling at the time. I don't know. I like it to be kind of a very evolving thing, kind of like Pokemon evolve, huh? Anyway, yeah, I like my things to just kind of be in the moment, sporadic, random, whatever other words you can use. So, as far as which game I'm going to be LPing, I always do kind of both because I end up showing the events for both of them. I don't know which one I'm going to exactly be LPing, so you'll have to wait and find out for that. What starter I'm picking, you'll have to wait and find out for that. What team I'm going to use, you'll have to wait and find out for that. So let everyone know. I just am not going to answer that question because honestly I don't know what I'm going to use. I really like all 3 of the starters in that gen. Obviously they all have Mega Evolutions, so I don't know. That is the honest question. So yeah, just wait until the LP comes out. It will be coming out. Rest assured of that. Just yes. So that wraps up the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire questions as far as, yeah, all of that. So the next few questions are actually a little bit more on the random side of Pokemon, kind of like the one where if I was a Pokemon, which one would I be? So first off, from Angel the Zorua, we have, if Pokemon didn't exist, Arceus forbid, what would your fandom be? And this is really a question where, first off, I would say if Pokemon had never existed, there probably would have been some other show/game combination phenomenon that would have taken over. Like, I think it's a thing, like basically capturing monsters and making them battle each other. That's an idea that I feel would have somehow surfaced nonetheless, and I'm sure there's a lot of other games that kind of copy that idea, and I'm sure there were games before Pokemon 2 that kind of had that idea as well, but Pokemon is just the popular one. So first off, I think that something else would have definitely been just as big with the same idea, but if it didn't exist at all, I would say probably something like Zelda or, I don't know, Zelda's really always been like my second go-to Nintendo series. But as you know, my favorite games of all time are more like the platformers of the Sony era, but that's mostly because that's the console that I had when I was a kid. My mom, or well, not really my mom, this is actually a funny story, I might as well tell it. The governor of the town that I lived in way back when the PS1 was coming out, it was like around election time, so he came up to our house and he was like, yo, do you guys need anything? Like, how you doing? You want something for the kids? And me being loudmouth munching orange as I am, I said, yo, governor man, I want a PS1. I didn't say it like that, but I was a kid. I was like 4 or something, so anyway, I said I wanted a PS1, and guess what? Mr. Governor Man, props to you, points plus. If somehow you're watching this video, I doubt it. I don't even know what his name was. I don't even know if he's alive, but anyway, he came with a PS1 maybe like a week or 2 later. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, that's what I grew up with, so yeah, that would probably be my fandom if Pokemon didn't exist, because those are the games I ended up growing up with, and I would probably just be like playing mostly Sony games from today. I really don't like the way that like Naughty Dog and Insomniac games have gone nowadays. I mean, Uncharted and Last of Us are cool, but I personally like their platforming style of games better, which is why I'm actually pretty excited for Sonic Boom, because I know that some of the people that work on Jak and Daxter are working on that game, and it looks a lot like it, so I am very excited for that game, and yeah. That would probably be my fandom, or like I said, if not, then it would be something like The Legend of Zelda or Mario, because just platformers and adventure games like that were really stuff that I really enjoy. And lately, I would say Dark Souls, because I've been playing that game a lot, so I don't know. There's a lot of fandoms I could belong to. There's a lot of games that I played, but I mean, maybe this should have been in the random part, because it's kind of a question of if Pokemon didn't exist, what would you play? And not really Pokemon. Pokemon was in the question, so like the actual word. So I thought that this goes in this category. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I should just cut it out and put it somewhere else. Question number, I don't know, comes from Excelsior MC, and he asks, what Pokemon do you think needs a Mega Evolution? And oh, there's another tie-in question from NJ Minicello, which says, what is your favorite Mega Evolution? So, what Pokemon I think needs Mega Evolutions, and what is my favorite of the ones that already exist? Now, actually, this is going to be a little bit of a promo to something to come in the future, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my YouTube video last time, the YouTube answers, but as far as what my favorite Mega Evolution is, that is actually going to be the next top 10, is going to be my top 10 Mega Evolutions, so get excited for that. I've been working on it for a little bit. I really suck at script writing, so like I said, it just sucks. Once I actually get into the mode where I start recording and editing it and stuff, it gets done very, very quickly, but the scripting, I just suck so bad at it. My brain freezes, and yeah, I mean, I have the list. I don't want to spoil it, though. That is coming sometime this month. I'm pretty busy this month, though, especially at the end. PAX is coming up, but before the end of the month, that video will be out, top 10 Mega Evolutions, so look out for that. And as far as what Mega Evolutions I want to see, another sort of video that I'm working on, like I said, for Mega Sharpedo and Mega Camaro, that's going to be kind of the introduction, is sort of my speculation as to what Mega Pokemon I want to see. I know a lot of people have been doing top 10s of which ones they want to see from each generation, and I always really enjoy watching those videos, so if you really like those videos, go check them out. Look up like top 10 Mega Pokemon from whatever region. A lot of other Pokemon YouTubers have done videos on those, and I think they're really cool to speculate about stuff like that, so I've always wanted to give my own like ideas and thoughts. So yeah, that's another series that I really want to start off with. First off with Mega Camerupt and Sharpedo, because those two I am very sure are going to be in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, so yeah. I didn't really answer the question, but, you know, I'm hinting at stuff coming in the future, so hopefully you get excited for those. Alright, I gotta put on my thinking cap for this next one. The Star-Lord hat is gonna be my thinking cap now. Or I could put it on like this, you know, and be a cool kid, a youngster. Because the next question coming from JJ Swags is, if you could be from one region in Pokemon, which region would you be from? I don't know what that has to do with being a youngster Joey, but I mean, I guess he's from every region. So if I could choose to be from one Pokemon region, I would surprisingly not choose the Hoenn region, even though it is my favorite one, because there's way too much water there. I don't like the beach, I don't like the sun that much, and I feel like that's all that there is in Hoenn is sun and beaches, and everyone is all tropical-like, especially in the upcoming remakes. So I would say if I could be from any region, probably Unova. It seems the closest to America, and that's kind of what I'm comfortable with. So even though it's kind of lame and a cop-out, they have really cool places. Like they have Castelia City, a freaking desert right behind it. There's just a lot of really cool landmarks in my opinion in Unova. I think it's the region with the most cool landmarks in it. Like there's a freaking relic castle. Castelia just alone has so much stuff. All of the cities and towns I think are really, really cool, especially in Black and White 2, the ones that they added. So if I could be from any region, it would probably be Unova, because I think it has the coolest landmarks and it would just be the most interesting one to live in. And I've actually never been outside of America, so I guess I'm sticking with my comfort with what I know. That's the closest region, in my opinion, at least to America, especially with New York kind of being like Castelia, or I guess the other way around. So yeah, if I could choose one, definitely Unova. And that brings us to our final few questions. Don't know how long this video is going on for, but I know that now we're going Ash Ketchum mode. We're turning the hat backwards because it is a very, very interesting question, and it kind of ties into YouTube actually. It's not really Pokemon. It's kind of a little bit of both, but it is what my favorite Pokemon from my Let's Plays are. And I'm going to go ahead and also choose what my favorite Let's Play that I've done is, because I know that was a question that I got at some point. I don't remember who, I'm sorry about that. But that one actually a couple of people asked is what my favorite Pokemon from my playthroughs have been. If you guys have seen my playthroughs, there's a lot of very memorable Pokemon. I've used a lot of my favorites that were my favorites before playthroughs, but if I'd have to pick one just exclusively that I have come to love from playthroughs, I would say Fabi is definitely number one. I didn't really care at all about Ninetales before doing my Sacred Gold Nuzlocke, and overall my Sacred Gold Nuzlocke has been one of my favorite playthroughs that I've done. So they kind of go hand in hand, both of those questions. Even though the Nuzlocke was very frustrating at times, dealing with the comments a lot of times was very, very frustrating to me, because a lot of people would just complain that I didn't know what I was doing, or that I made dumb mistakes and that my Pokemon would die. But I think that's really, I've learned that that's become part of the Nuzlocke. Basically, people only, or well, I'm not generalizing everyone, but a lot of people watch to see the reactions of when Pokemon die. But then when they do die, it's just a lot of, you suck and you did this wrong. So it was frustrating, but at the same time, the best playthrough that I've done, or at least for myself, like it was the most fun that I've done or had in a game. And I wish the Volt White Nuzlocke would have kept going, because I feel like it could have been a lot of the same thing. But rest assured, there will be more Nuzlockes in the future. And yes, Fabi is my favorite Pokemon from any of the playthroughs I've done. I've got a lot of love for Ninetales now, which previously I didn't really care at all for Ninetales. And if anyone out there, if I do end up getting fan mail open or something like that, if anyone out there would send me like a Fabi plush, that would be amazing, because well, I've actually never looked it up. I could probably get one myself, but it would mean a lot more if it came from someone, you know. I feel like I would never forget that person. So get to it. The hat is off once again, and I mean, I said my hair was kind of moldable yesterday, in the last part rather. But really right now it's not really cooperating. I'm trying to make it the onion head like my shirt. There it is, there's the onion head. Because we are actually heading off for the final question, which is actually going to tie into my whole Pokemon collection. A lot of people ask me what my Pokemon collection is. Specifically, some ask me about, Sonic Morris specifically asked if I collect Pokemon cards, and if so, what is my rarest? So we're going to take a look at my whole Pokemon collection, and we're kind of going off-road for this one. We're getting crazy with it. So if you've been wondering what's in the background of these videos for the last few, or the last two parts, here's some of my Pokemon collection. There's a Piplup, Mewtwo from the trading card game. I think these are actually the special edition ones from pre-ordering Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or just getting the special editions of those. And then there's Giratina from Platinum, Charmander and Pikachu. I think those actually came from when I went to PAX at some point. They had these little dispenser machines, like, you know those, I think they're called Gachapon. Like, they're those little ball capsule things that you get at the, I don't know, there was one at the mall and it only had Pokemon stuff, and I thought that was really, really cool, so I got those two. Anyway, to answer Sonic's question, here is actually my Pokemon cards collection thing. I did collect them for a while. I don't really anymore, or at least I haven't bought any in a couple of months. So if I can just get all of this off of here and show you this binder, but gosh darn it, I can't do this. I have no strength at all. Anyway, here it is. There are a lot of cards. I don't know, I've organized them by type, so yeah, there are definitely a lot of cards in here from all the generations. There's actually even more if you check out this little container thing here. You can see there are a lot more cards. But as far as my rares go, if I can actually find them, oh, here they are. Here are my rarest Pokemon cards. How do these go together? Like this? I think that's how they go together. It's Dialga and Palkia for this one, and if you flip over to the other side, one of my favorite cards that I have is the Cresselia Darkrai one. Like I said, Darkrai, one of my favorites, so I think this is a really cool card. When they do these like double things, I think it's really, really awesome. But yeah, that's the only time that I've ever like actually bought one off of the store. The other ones have been random pulls from booster packs and stuff like that. And the latest one that I got, and I think the rarest card I have, right here, Mega Charizard Y? I was about to say X, but yeah. Mega Charizard Y EX. It is freaking awesome looking. I don't know how rare it is exactly, but I know that it is rare. And I don't know what the terminology for is. I really don't know a lot about the cards, but it is really, really cool. I'm so happy that when I got this, I just couldn't believe it. And yeah, I tweeted about it. It was crazy. So yeah, that's probably the rarest card I have. Honestly, I don't know if it actually is. I have a bunch of other kind of rare ones. But yeah, if you guys want to see the full collection, let me know in the comments. I might at some point make a video about it. But yeah, that's probably going to wrap up the Pokemon questions and answers. I'll show off my games collection since that was also a couple of people asked me about that. So here's a glimpse of my room again, which has actually been a little bit updated. We have some Dark Souls posters now. We have the little wall of sprites, which wasn't there before. A TV now, and the Millennium Falcon, OMG. Starting off from left to right, those are the Japanese versions of Black and White 2. The English version of Black 2, White, just the regular white. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like I said, these were the special edition ones that came with the little figures that you saw earlier. Platinum, one of the first ones that actually this is really, really old if I think about it, because this is when I started to get back into Pokemon, and I got it on release, so it's pretty old. This is still the copy that I got on release. A couple of spin-off titles, Pokemon Conquest and Dash, which, this is probably the best Pokemon game you will ever play. I'm just, like, I'm not lying with that. This is honestly the best Pokemon game, hands down. Conquest I haven't played a lot of. I hear it's pretty good, but haven't played a lot of it. X and Y, obviously, got both of them, and I ended up doing my playthrough of Y, and doing a little bit of live streaming of X. Pokemon Rumble Blast, haven't played a lot of it, but it's kind of cool. It's just like Pokemon Rumble, I guess. I don't like it that much, but it's interesting. And there's my other 3DS games, if you are interested in kind of what I'm playing. I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default lately, and it's really, really good. So yeah, I recommend you check it out. As far as my other ones, these I ended up buying off Amazon, and I didn't know, but they are actually fake copies of Pokemon Emerald and Fire Red. I tried to get the originals, but, or at least the pictures on Amazon were the originals, but, you know, the actual ones that I got in the mail ended up being fake. And Pokemon Fire Red, which you can very, very obviously tell it is a fake because it's actually the cartridge from, like, Ruby. Like, it's see-through. The Pokemon Fire Red cartridge is not supposed to be see-through like that, so yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I really got ripped off because they were maybe like the regular price, I guess, so I kind of did. I mean, at least the games worked. They're not the official ones. These are the official ones, though, for Pokemon Yellow and Silver. This silver one is actually the original one that my cousin owned. This yellow one I got off of eBay or something, and it actually has a little S written on the back of it, and I've always wondered, sorry, I can't get this to focus, but I've always wondered what that S is actually for. But the final one is Pokemon Crystal, and yeah, the silver one was the original one for my cousin. This one I'm pretty sure I bought online, and it had something written on it, so I decided to write more on it and write MO on it, because, I don't know, I'm weird and dumb. That will now officially wrap up this second part of the question and answer Ask Me Anything, so stay tuned tomorrow for part 3 after I catch my breath and I'm not dying from just climbing up like 3 steps of stairs. Part 3, random questions, life questions, and all that. I am going to be sitting here, catching my breath, like I said, and just being lazy in general, and failing to focus my camera. So yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed and all that, and I will see you all in part 3.